so now we're going to be talking about jobs. Part 2 answer, describe a well-paid job. Not teaching, well-paid job you want to have in the future. You should say what your job is, how you can find it. Okay, so it's quite an interesting question. How do you go about finding a job? I mean, LinkedIn, websites, I guess, through personal connections, something we call networking, is where you find a job through your own personal connections or personal knowledge. What qualities it requires? Ooh, this is a nice chance for some nice vocabulary, you know. I really want to be a financial investment analyst. This is the kind of job that requires you to be good at maths, work well under pressure, be able to cope with demanding situations, and be very organized and forward planning and forward thinking in order to be able to predict the next financial trends. Okay, so lots of nice chances for nice vocabulary here. Why is it well paid? Okay, so what about your job justifies why you need a high salary, and do you think you'll be good at it? Okay, so quite a nice topic, a lot to talk about here. Let's see how this candidate did.
My dream job is a barista. I want to open my own cafe in the future. For this job, I need a barista license, so I have to study about coffee and coffee beans and practice making coffee and steaming milk, and then I can take an exam and get the barista license. I think detail is very important to be a good barista. Coffee is very complex and difficult drink. Everything can change the taste of coffee, such as humidity, temperature, the kinds of coffee bean, and everything. Everything can change the taste and smell of coffee. So the detail is very important to make a great coffee. Also, I need a lot of money to open my own cafe. I want to buy great espresso machine and beautiful interior. And
okay, I'm guessing they finished. Didn't quite have a chance to finish their answer there. I'm assuming they had some technological issue. But an interesting answer. Describe a well-paid job you want to have in the future. My first thought for a well-paid job necessarily wouldn't be barista. I suppose if you owned your own cafe, you could earn a lot of money. But I don't know, man. Seoul is so full of cafes, so many of them, hundreds, millions of cafes. So I always wonder, how many of these cafes make a profit? There's so many cafes. But anyway, that's just my own personal wonderings. But okay, cool. I hope this person gets to open their cafe in the future. I think it sounds like she's got a real passion for it. In terms of fluency, it was pretty fluent in terms of that she really kept the story moving, which is something I like to see in my answers, okay? So you tell a story, you move all the way through from A to Z through your story. First this happened, then this happened. You're always giving me new information. What gets you low fluency is when you you go sort of like A, B, C, and then you do H, and then but actually going back to D, and then go back and then do E, and then you end up repeating the same information a couple of times over and over again. Okay, and that makes you sound incoherent, and it takes down your fluency score. Okay, so what I liked about this candidate is she very much kept moving through the information, and she told me lots of new things, which was great. In terms of pronunciation, her pronunciation was very clear, easy to understand. There was only one word that was unclear, is when she tried to say humidity and it ended up coming out as humanity. Okay, which was one issue. So she said even the humanity can affect the taste of the coffee. When she wanted to say humidity, you've got the M sound in there, humidity. So I'm going hard on this it sound and then going down on the ditty sound. So humidity is going up and down. That's where my stress is. So that would be a word I would just ask her to practice a little bit. In terms of vocab, she uses lots of nice specific vocabulary. In terms of barista license, she talks about coffee, she talks about espresso machines. So lots of vocabulary that's specific to the topic. I would have liked to see her talk about it in more detail, okay, and use more advanced language. So she used stuff like, she talks about, I want to get a great espresso machine, make a great coffee, have a beautiful interior. Okay, these are chances for you to use much more high level, much more advanced adjectives. Okay, I really think that beans are important because it's great to have an aromatic coffee bean. Okay, or you really need to have a dry roasted and steeped coffee to make the best, freshest tasting coffee. Okay, dry roasted, steeped, brew, aromatic, flavorful. Those kind of more specific, more advanced words. These words are fine that she chose to use, are understandable, but they could be better, the ones that she picked. In terms of grammar, her grammar was fine, but it was very basic and very safe. Okay, so she used basic, present simple and a little bit of past simple, but mostly short and present simple. So I would have liked to have seen a lot more range of grammar, a lot more different types of tenses. I have been planning to have my own coffee shop for 10 years, or recently I started saving for my coffee shop, but COVID hit and I had to stop. Okay, so we're changing tenses a little bit. So that kind of thing you can practice to put in and would make your answer more high level. Overall, clear, easy to follow, understandable, solid, sort of reasonable answer. So let's see what she did for the next section. So why do some people keep changing their jobs? Yeah, as millennials, changing our jobs all the time. And in your opinion, which is more important, the pay or your interest? Okay, this is a very interesting question, and it's something everyone has to think about. Are you going to take the job that's high paid, or are you going to take the job that you're passionate about? So it's very interesting. I think there's a lot of pressure in society to take a job. You're supposed to find your passion. You're supposed to do this thing that you love doing. I'm like, maybe what I love doing is paragliding. But my Monday to Friday job as a financial analyst pays me to do my hobbies on the weekends. You don't have to always love what you do. Let's see what this candidate talked about.
I think many people changing their job because of well-being life for their life. In the past, we didn't take care of work and life balance that much, but these days many people changes their thoughts and mindset. So when they are unhappy with their job, they quit and trying to get a new job. Also, I think my interest is the most important for my job. If I love my job and enjoy my work, I would be happy and I would be proud of myself. But if I follow my salary only, when I face some kinds of hard work, I would be regret and discouraged to do that hard work. So I think for my job and for my life, my interest is very important.
Okay, so a nice answer, a good length, good sort of detail. Could have gone into it a bit more, but again, a sort of reasonably solid answer. In terms of fluency, I thought it was good. She answered the question, coherent, kept it moving. In terms of content, I would have liked to see her explain a little bit more. Like the first question I thought was kind of a light answer. She just says people change their mindset. I'd have liked to have seen her explain that in a little bit more detail and go in, to show me a bit more ability. In terms of pronunciation, again, good. The only word I want to pick up at is when she said, I would feel discouraged. She did the classic thing where she discouraged it. Okay, where she really emphasizes ED sound at the end. English is this weird language where we say ED at the end, but we actually pronounce it differently. Okay, so listen to how I pronounce it. I felt really discouraged. 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 Don't discourage him. He'll feel really discouraged. Can you hear that instead of the D sound, when I speak naturally, it comes out more like a T sound? Discouraged. So your tongue is touching that ridge behind your teeth. It's just touching. T. Okay, and putting out a little puff of air. I was feeling really discouraged. I was feeling really discouraged yesterday. Pronouncing the D puts too much stress on the word. Yesterday, I was feeling really discouraged because my teacher, like it comes across in English as you sound really mad for some reason, or you really want to emphasize it. If you're just talking normally, it comes out like a T sound, discouraged. Okay, so she emphasized it quite a lot, so I would just sort of recommend that she practices that. Vocabulary, again, was pretty good, but could show me more, okay? She's got obviously very comfortable in the sort of general range of vocabulary, which is adequate for what she wants to do, but she's not really showing me a really advanced range of academic vocabulary. So I would just say that, I want to see more words that impress me or more phrases that make me go, ooh, like that's a nice phrase to use. In terms of grammar, the only thing that I really wanted to pick out was when she said, I thought about, I would be regret rather than I would regret it. If I took a job I didn't love, I would regret it. Okay, so it shouldn't be I would be regret. Okay, so when we look at scoring, overall, she's a very sort of like, solid answer. I don't have a lot. It's one of those annoying things when you're in that sort of like band 6, where your teacher's like, well, there's nothing really wrong with what you've done. It makes sense and is coherent, but you're not showing me enough to move up to a 6.5 or a 7 in terms of confidence, content, natural phrasing, variety of grammar, variety of vocabulary. So pronunciation, I would want to give a sort of a 6. I want to see more intonation from this candidate, more sort of going up and down, like in the tone of her voice. In terms of vocabulary, again, it's a solid 6. I need to see more range, more different types of vocabulary. Grammar, again, is 6, clear, understandable, able to follow, but not particularly impressive or not particularly difficult, the grammar that she's using. She's using it well, but it's one of those things where as a normal conversation with a native speaker, the grammar she's using is fine. But in IELTS, you need to show that you can use this complex grammar in order to get the higher points. Fluency and coherence, again, a solid 6. So she's a 6 across the board. And what I'd like to see her do is expand on her answers a little bit more, think about where she can add in some of this more difficult grammar. And like your part 2 answer is a great place to do that because you've got time to think about it. And I'm sure she can move up into a 6.5 or higher. It's just a case of specific IELTS related practice.